Hey, my name is Jared Moon, and I'm part of a group of underground athletes you've probably never even heard of before. We don't rely on fancy equipment for training, and most of us don't even have gym memberships. In fact, our motivation comes from within. You see, we have jobs, families, and responsibilities, but we still have big goals, and they aren't getting achieved at a globo gym. For that reason, we have to do things differently. Our training has to be smarter. We don't have every piece of equipment known to man or a ton of time to train, and we don't need it, because we are achieving amazing things without it. So how do we do it? If you ask your average personal trainer or gym goer, they'd call us crazy. Yet we're seeing results better than most every single day. And it's happening by blending mental training with physical training and becoming an athlete. What we call, and welcome to, Garage Gym Athlete.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Jared Moon here with Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. And Josh Franz, man, how's it going?
Pretty good, man.
All right, dude. I'm going to just hand this right over to you. So give us a little introduction, who you are, what you do for a living, or what you're doing right now, should I say, and how you train.
Yeah, my name's Josh Franz, and I am right now a student at Texas A&M. I'm a senior here, and I'm in the Corps of Cadets, Army ROTC, and here in December, I'm going to commission into the Army National Guard, so pretty excited about that. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. And what's your training look like these days?
So usually PT, 3 mornings a week. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, following your guys' grit track right now and loving every minute of it or hating it both at the same time.
Yep.
It's a love-hate relationship. I think Joe's favorite recently in the programming were the bear crawls. I think that's a personal favorite of Joe. But
Bear crawls.
You skipped them, didn't you?
Maybe.
It was last week. It was last week. Bear crawls, man. And then the inchworms. Did you do the inchworms this week?
Oh, yeah, the inchworms were terrible. The inchworms were worse than the Metcons this week.
Yeah. They just take so much time.
And I'm just not flexible, so it's like a huge strain to try and like bring my feet to my hands. I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is the worst.
Yeah, it's brutal. But man, so I'm taking it. I'm guessing that you're not a true garage gym athlete in the sense that you're not training in your garage. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the extent of my quote-unquote garage gym right now is I have a 55-pound kettlebell, a set of rings, and then the pull-up bars that are right outside my dorm, and a jump rope. So
that's awesome.
That's the extent of my garage gym right now.
And what do you have? I mean, A&M probably got the full suite, man. But what do you have in your training where you do train?
I mean, we've got the basics. So barbells, dumbbells, full range of kettlebells, box squats, things like that, which is nice. But usually it's like a 15-20 minute wait just to get a deadlift bar, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And it makes Metcons difficult too. So usually I have to get creative with that because they typically like want you to keep the bars where they are. So.
Yeah, the rules, right? The rules of it's pretty much a globo gym at that point.
Yep.
I do have to ask you kind of an off-topic question. How do you feel about Texas Tech University?
Well, I haven't had any problems with them so far. I mean, we're in the SEC now, so we don't have to play all in football anymore. But
yeah, it was a rivalry back in my day. But yeah, once you guys switched over, it all kind of disappeared. So who is A&M's, I know we're going off a tangent here, but who is A&M's main rival now that you guys are in the SEC?
In football, probably LSU because that's the only team that we've played in the SEC that we haven't beaten yet.
Okay.
And in baseball, I'd have to say TCU because every year that we'll make it really far, super regionals or to Omaha, and we'll get beat by TCU every time. So,
yeah, dude, TCU got good all of a sudden too, but I won't go too far down that rabbit hole, man. So what led you to our training and let's just say training more functionally? How we do?
So This goes all the way back to when I was in high school. I was a track athlete. I was a sprinter and a jumper, and those probably I was about 50 pounds lighter then because I didn't lift weights or anything like that. All I did was run, and so I came here, and then I did the PT 3 mornings a week, stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm really good at all this like running and stuff, but like you throw a ruck on me and I get crushed. So like I need to implement some kind of strength training in here. And I mean, I'd lifted weights and stuff before, but I didn't really have like any idea what I was doing. I was like, I've seen people do this here. I think this is called a bench press. I'm not sure. And so you just kind of make my rounds around the gym, and I had no kind of like nutrition background at all. So I was like, well, they said that like to get strong, you got to eat a lot. So I'm just going to eat a ton. And I ended up gaining 55, 60 pounds. Some of it was muscle, some of it wasn't. And I was like, okay, now I can like lift a lot of weight, but I can't run. So I've got to find some kind of balance here. And that's when I was like, that's how I found you guys, actually through the Strategic Athlete. What's his name? PJ Newton.
Yeah, PJ.
Yeah. So I went to him for running advice, and I saw your one man, one barbell. I was like, I'll try both of these out at the same time. And I ended up liking both, and ended up sticking with the EO3 more than the other one. But I found that what you guys offered that I hadn't had before was structure that also had like, you were very clear about the purpose and like why we were doing things and the science behind it and stuff like that, which is what I really appreciated about you guys.
Yeah, man, and that's I think that's what makes our athletes different than a lot, because most people, I'd say majority of people, just they don't care. Like I've actually been in situations like as a physical training leader sometimes where I try to explain the why behind something and they're just like not interested. They're like, "What? I don't care. What are we doing?" And so it's really cool that most of our athletes are very interested in the why and get fired up behind the science and all that stuff, dude. That's really cool. You've actually also been through our certification program. One of the first, I was telling Joe before we got talking to you, you were like, I think it was like top, maybe the first 3, maybe first 5, something like that, finished with the certification process, man. How have you found that in utilizing it with, I don't know, people you're training now or yourself in general?
I actually, I learned a lot going through that, and I've been experimenting on myself with some programming, and I've been working with other guys. So, as far as people I'm training, I try to work with the guys here, especially the guys that need help. But I'm kind of running into that, like, everybody here has a little bit of meathead in them, and so I'm kind of running into that, like, oh, well, this isn't why are you doing kettlebell exercises? What's the point of that? That's not really, I don't feel like, don't feel the soreness after like a kettlebell metcon. So obviously it's not doing anything. Exactly. And trying to explain how like, doing like a traditional split with like back and buys, stuff like that is like, there are good and bad aspects of that, but like, on a 12-week training cycle, like you can really narrow it down and you can like get a lot more specific with goals and like expected outcomes than you can with just like, I think I'm going to do bench press today. So that's the main obstacle I've run into. So I haven't really worked with anybody that like really buys in 100%. But as far as like the certification process, that was awesome. And I've used it on myself and seen a lot of progress so far. I've dropped my mile time like 45 seconds.
That's awesome,
the
dude.
past 3 months, yeah. So
that's awesome, dude. And
I think military bros are always some of the most hard-headed and the worst.
Oh yeah,
because they're just stuck in their mindset and all they want to do is get strong and big, and it's super masculine and all this stuff. And then even college guys are probably the next ones back because it's more about vanity and like, oh, I just want to have big arms and whatever because that's what girls like and whatnot. But they're just starting their stuff on their own vicious cycle where they're not really going to get anywhere after a while.
Yeah, I actually got into not a debate because I realized very quickly that there's no point in arguing with this guy. But he was like he was asking me about my diet. I'm like, I'm like high fat, mid-level protein and low carb. I'm like, yeah, what about you? He's like, I'm on high protein, low fat, low carb. I'm like, what is that? Like, how do you eat? What, you just like live off of protein shakes?
It's toxic. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm on the 300 to 400 gram of protein per day diet. It's working out great. No, to be honest, that's how you can really spot a novice trainee when their only benchmark for the effectiveness of their workout is the soreness level the next day. It's like, how sore was that? Because I mean, once you've been training for a long time, you don't, unless you're doing something really unusual, you don't get to like that crazy level of soreness. Unless, like I said, you're doing something off.
Well, there's been some leg days with grit that have just, back-to-back days doing legs where you're just like, this is not fun.
Not gonna lie, recent grit day where I put in 562 squats, some with a barbell, some body weight, in one single day. My legs were a little bit sore. So that's the unusual stuff I'm talking about. That's a little off the wall that we don't do all the time. But man, that's great to hear. So let's talk about kind of what your training was like before all this stuff. I mean, you hit on a little bit, but was it non-existent? Was it just super sporadic? Were there any other kind of training methodologies you tried to follow before hooking up with us?
Well, so in track, it was really easy because I just did whatever the coach said. But I didn't really get any, I didn't really know why we were doing things, stuff like that. I just kind of followed it. And then when I came here, my first year here, I was in a Ranger School prep course, or it was like a year-long thing, and basically that was running and pull-ups. That was it, with the occasional 12-mile ruck thrown in there. And that's when I was like, okay, I finished that and I was like, okay, I'm in really good shape now. I'm not in this course anymore, so it's not the level and amount of stuff that I was doing went down a bunch. And so I need to start doing stuff on my own. And my goals are also I don't just want to do good on the PFT and whatnot. And so that's when I started going to the gym. But like I said, I'd lifted weights before, so I kind of knew what I was doing. But as far as when to train and how to train, I had no clue what I was doing. And so I went to YouTube and I tried to look up stuff. And of course on YouTube I got all kinds of different training methodologies and stuff like that, and got students, and basically just I was like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do or what I'm doing, so I'm just gonna stop. And then I put on, so all the weight I had put on in muscle, I pretty much matched in fat at that point, and which is bad. Yeah. And then I was like, all right, I need to get serious about this. I need to get on a program, and I went and talked to the nutritionist here at school, and that's when I really started having a training plan. But then it was just the traditional we do back and bis today, gonna do legs tomorrow, gonna do arms and whatnot. And it was okay, well, I'll just pick an exercise and do 5 sets of 10 at it, and then I'll find something else that works a different muscle and do 5 sets of 10 of that, and come back and work the same. And it's just by muscle groups and stuff. And that worked, but that only works up into a point. And I hit a plateau and got really frustrated. And especially since I wasn't really getting stronger, I was just putting on muscle mass. And so the workouts, I was never able to lift more weight than I had before. It's just I was bigger, which wasn't my goal to start with. And so that's when I went out looking for a training plan, found you guys. And I think the first thing I did with you guys was I did 2 cycles of 1-man, 1 barbell. Mm-hmm. And that's when I really saw the jump in strength that I was looking for. But I had neglected the conditioning part required with the military aspect of things. So my run times went down a lot, which is basically where I am now. I'm strong, but now I'm trying to get my run times back up. So
And what would you
trying
say?
to find that balance.
What would you say your overall goal is right now? Because you said it goes beyond just the PT test. What are you looking to achieve really?
My goal. So I'm thinking kind of like this is a long-term goal. I want to have a 500-pound squat, 500-pound deadlift, and run a 5-minute mile. So that's my long-term goal. I'm also looking to run a marathon either this year or next year, and then ultimately like get the job I want in the National Guard as an aviator. So
Awesome, dude. Well, I think your long-term goal there is pretty epic. I'm not gonna lie. 500-pound deadlift and a 5-minute mile, 500-pound squat. So if you have a 500-pound squat, you should probably have like a 600-pound deadlift. I'm just saying.
yeah.
But that's awesome, dude. Really cool. So let's get to some of these fun questions. What's the hardest workout you've ever done?
So I did the first time I did y'all's condition me to the grave workout.
Did you do substituted or machines? Like the proper?
I did the proper like with the rower and the aerodyne and whatnot.
Awesome. Okay.
And
I haven't done that
I
yet.
went out way too fast, and I was gassed after the first little set, and I finished it barely. But it took me a really long time because I was just so gassed after the first one.
That's awesome, dude. And so for anyone listening who wants to know, you could Google "condition me to the grave" and check that workout out. But I think I have it memorized. So it's 100 cal on the rower, 100 cal on the airdyne, and then 100 double unders, run a mile, and then it stair steps down to 75s on all of that, run a mile, 50 cal, 50 double unders, all that, then run a mile, 25, and then you don't end with a mile, then you're done. Or do you end with a mile? No,
you're done.
You're
It's
done.
only 3 miles.
Yeah, 3 miles, and it is brutal. And we have so there's a colonel in our programming who is setting the bar so freaking high on Condition Me to the Grave. I don't know if you guys have seen his posts, but the first time we programmed Condition Me to the Grave.
Oh yeah, he added in a second mile.
Well, that was the second time. So the first time he did it, he set like the world's fastest time on Condition Me to the Grave with like 47 minutes or something like that. Finished the whole workout. And then, the second time we programmed it in the training, he's like, I wanted to be a little bit harder this time. So he did 2 miles every time. So for a total of 6 miles with all that in there. It's absolutely insane, man. All right, dude. In your opinion, what is the best activity for building mental toughness?
Man, just getting out there and doing something, especially what you're bad at. Like you say in the in our coaching certification that training is the removal of fear, and in order to build toughness, you got to like get rid of that fear. So you got to go out there and do what you're bad at, train at what you're bad at, and you also have to have like what's a good word for it? Like emotional depth to be able to like sit down and look at okay, what am I bad at? Like, what do I need to work on here? What are my weaknesses?
Yeah, having that awareness to actually like zoom out and be honest or truthful with yourself. Love it, man. All right, if you're going to have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Probably a barbell. Either a barbell or a kettlebell. I go back and forth all the time. I love both of them. I'm going to take that back. I'm going to say kettlebell just because you can do so much with a kettlebell.
Yeah.
And you have one.
Yeah.
It's hard because I think if you think beyond just like the true essence of the question, so like the rest of your life, you can only have one thing. When you put it like that long term, I might go with a kettlebell too, just because, damn, barbells are heavy sometimes. And
when you're 60, I don't know if you want to mess with the barbell
you're
anymore.
right. All right.
Well, they've got those videos of those like 90-year-olds deadlifting those kettlebells. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
So if you could add either one piece, so I'll go one piece of equipment to your own personal setup or whatever you have at your house, wherever you're living, what would it be?
Probably the Louis Simmons reverse hyper machine.
Yes.
Because
You're like the second person.
I actually I'm coming off a lower back injury right now, and I've used one of those once, and I was like, man, this thing's like incredible. Because but yeah, I think that's what I'd go with.
So I will say it has been interesting me, more because in grit we have them after runs, and I was doing them on my box, but it's just non-weighted. But now the sets are becoming a little bit easy just to use my legs. So I'm like, well, I need to kind of have some weight, but it doesn't really work to clamp plates between your feet because I launch them across the pad.
Dude, I think it's a great pick. So I have a reverse hyper, and I mean the main reason I bought it was my dad broke his lower back, and when I moved to Texas, back to Texas after getting out of the military, I wanted to help him out, but I also had tweaked my lower back, and was like, well, this might be like a good fit. And to be honest, I've had zero problems with my back since getting the reverse hyper into my training on a weekly basis. So good pick. All right, man, what is the best advice you have for garage gym athletes out there listening to this?
Just go out there, keep moving around. Never stop moving. Even if like you can't, if you can't get out there, work out. Like for a full like training session, just get out there and do something.
Do something. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Josh, it's been awesome, man. I always enjoy our conversations, and thanks for taking the time to do this podcast with us, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Yep.